Alright, so in this video, we're going to talk about how the FXRT fairing performs in the curves. Let's check it out. What's going on, YouTube? FXCLS Brooklyn is back in the building. And yeah, common question I've been getting asked a lot lately about my Lowrider S is, hey bro, I really like the look of that FXRT fairing, but I'm worried about how it's going to perform, specifically in the curves. So, let me just address the elephant in the room. I am not on my Lowrider S right now with an FXRT fairing. I am on my 2001 FXDX with a T-Sport fairing. But, y'all know I got like 30,000 plus miles on an FXRT fairing at this point, so I think I might be at a place where I could potentially answer that question to the best of my knowledge. So here's the deal, y'all. Here's what you need to know. As long as you're moving, like if you're doing curves, say in mountain twisties, where, you know, you're leaning into curves at, say, you know, 40 miles per hour or more, definitely at the high end of second gear, getting into third gear or above. If you're doing curves and twisties where you got the bike moving at a decent speed, I'll tell you this much, the FXRT fairing, there's going to be little to no factor, you know, and that probably comes down to like physics or some stuff where I'm sure there's got to be a physicist on here that could explain this, but essentially when you add speed, you can throw the bike around with an FXRT fairing just fine. So the bike performs just fine within the curves, which is actually one of the whole points of creating that build, which is a bike that you can still ride fast and can still maneuver well and have the high performance, but still have the touring capabilities and still have capabilities to crush highway miles without a problem. That's the whole idea behind the FXRT build. You know, it'll 100% still crush the curves that you sink the bike into. And a lot of times, you know, that was one of the things that I believe I was most surprised of. If you go back and you watch some of my videos back in 2020, when I had first thrown the fairing on, is I was really surprised at how well the bike still maintained its maneuverability in the curves with what looks like a big heavy fairing. But the thing you got to remember about those fairings is they're a lot lighter than they look. They're a lot lighter than they look. And they're designed to be thrown around and to perform well in situations like that. So I get why, you know, people would look at that type of fairing and being like, well, am I still going to be able to straight peg in the twisties? Look, go back and watch any of my Sturgis videos, man. Like, we're still crushing twisties. And I'm riding alongside with Vong Asphalt, who's running a T-Sport fairing, and it's no issue, you know? So in the twisties, not an issue. You know, if you have a hesitation about running an FXRT fairing for that reason, I'm going to tell you, you're good, man. You would be surprised again at how well the build will hold up for that type of riding. So don't fear the curves, man. Don't fear the curves. Now, it's definitely something to get used to. Like, I'll never forget the first full day I did where basically my dad led a ride where he led us into, I'm not even kidding, it was like 4 hours straight of twisties. Nothing but twisties for 4 hours straight. And that was the first day I did like that, where, you know, we're doing like 300 miles of twisties. You know, the first time I did that, I was like, oh yeah, this, you know, after a couple hours of that, I was like, I could definitely see that there is quite a difference here. But it wasn't a deterrent or anything, and it wasn't stopping me from riding the way that I wanted to ride. It was just different, that's all. But like anything, you get used to it, you acclimate, and you rip. So I just wanted to do a short little one for anyone who is in the market for that fairing, or is in the market for the Lowrider ST and has hesitations about that performance. I'll tell you, from someone who's ripped many a twisty with an FXRT fairing, you're good, my friend. Don't fear the Reaper, don't fear the curves. You will be surprised at what your FXRT fairing can handle. The one thing I'll add to that is, if we're talking about curves and turns and etc., the one place you are going to feel it is if you're doing miles like I'm doing right now, if you're still getting in your urban miles, right? My friend, you're going to feel it in those situations like what we're doing right now. You know, low speed maneuvering, low speed curves, etc. That's where you're going to notice a difference. And that's where, you know, for that type of riding, if you're going to have to lane split, if you're going to have to, you know, rip through an urban environment, a bike that's equipped with either a quarter fairing or a T-Sport fairing, like what I'm on right now, or a bike that's just being run naked, it's going to be the better tool for the job. Now, that being said, assuming that you have the riding skill, you could still get away with those types of miles. It's just not going to be as easy in some scenarios as what you'd be used to running a situation with a smaller fairing. But yeah, that's really all I got for this one. I'm going to close this one up here and start a new one at the same mural. Bad idea mural. I love this one. Don't fear the FXRT fairing. One of my favorite fairings out there, whichever one you go with. And if you have any other questions about that, I still get a lot of good questions about those fairings. Y'all let me know. I'll do my best to answer. As always, stay safe, stay low. FX Dallas Brooklyn is out.